What if Samsung's biggest foldable phone problem is about to disappear completely? For years, the Z Fold users have been complaining about the same thing over and over again. Slow charging speeds that make you wait forever to get back to using your phone. But new leaked information suggests Samsung might finally be listening to what people actually want. The Z Fold 8 could be getting its biggest upgrade in years. And it's not what you might expect. Today, we're breaking down everything we know about Samsung's next generation of foldables. From charging speeds that could actually compete with other flagship phones, to battery improvements that might solve another major complaint. And we'll talk about why Samsung needs to get this right, especially with Apple reportedly working on their own foldable phone. So if you've been waiting for Samsung to fix their foldable phone issues, this video is definitely for you. Let's start with the charging situation because this has been a real problem for Samsung foldables. Right now, if you buy a Z Fold 7, you're getting 25 watts of wired charging. That's the same speed. Samsung has been using it for years, even as the phones got more expensive. Meanwhile, regular Galaxy S phones get 45 watts, and some Chinese brands offer over 100 watts. It's been embarrassing for Samsung, honestly. But according to new certification listings found in China's database, that's about to change. Two new Samsung devices showed up with model numbers SMF9710 and SMF9760. These are believed to be the Chinese versions of the Z Fold 8 and something called the Galaxy Z Wide Fold. Both devices show support for 15 volts at 3 amps, which works out to 45 watts of charging power. That would be an 80% increase from current Fold models. Now, 45 watts isn't going to blow anyone's mind in 2024. OnePlus and other brands have been doing 100 watts or more for years. But for Samsung foldables, this would be a huge step forward. Going from 25 watts to 45 watts means your phone would charge significantly faster. Instead of waiting over an hour for a full charge, you might be looking at 45 minutes or less. That's the kind of improvement that actually makes a difference in daily use. However, there's some bad news mixed in with the good. Certification documents show it's sticking with about 25 watts, the same as before. So Samsung is creating a clear divide in their foldable lineup. The expensive Fold gets faster charging, while the cheaper Flip stays the same. It makes business sense, but it's still disappointing for Flip users. Now let's talk about the other major upgrade coming to the Galaxy Z Fold 8. Battery life has been another weak point for Samsung foldables. The company has been using a 4400 mAh battery since the Z Fold 3. That's 3 generations of phones with basically the same battery size. During that time, screens got bigger and processors got more powerful. But the battery stayed exactly the same. It never made much sense, especially when you see what competitors are doing. Honor and Oppo have been fitting much larger batteries into their foldable phones. Some Chinese foldables now have 6000 mAh batteries or more. And many of those phones are actually thinner than Samsung's devices. So Samsung really had no excuse for keeping such small batteries. But according to new leaked information, the Z Fold 8 could finally get a proper battery upgrade. The new phone might pack a 5000 mAh battery. That would be a 600 mAh increase from current models. It doesn't sound like much, but it's actually about 13 to 14% more capacity. In real-world terms, that could mean an extra hour or 2 of screen time per day. The way this works is pretty interesting too. Foldable phones can't use a single large battery like regular phones. Instead, they use 2 smaller batteries, one in each half of the device. For the Fold 8, leaked specs show one battery around 2370 mAh and another around 2485 mAh. Combined, that gives you the full 5000 mAh capacity. This dual battery setup is necessary because of how foldable phones are built. You need batteries on both sides of the hinge mechanism, but it also means the batteries take up more space than a single large battery would. That's part of why foldable phones have struggled with battery life compared to regular smartphones. Even with these improvements, Samsung still isn't matching what some competitors offer. Chinese brands are fitting 6000 mAh batteries into phones that are just as thin. So while the Fold 8 upgrade is welcome, Samsung is still playing catch-up in some areas. Unfortunately, it looks like the Galaxy Z Flip 8 won't get a battery upgrade. That phone will likely stick with the same battery size as before. This creates another difference between Samsung's 2 foldable lines. The Fold gets better charging and a bigger battery, while the Flip gets neither. Now let's talk about why these upgrades matter more than ever before. Samsung isn't just competing with other Android brands anymore. Apple is reportedly working on their own foldable phone. And when Apple enters a category, everything changes. According to industry reports, Apple has increased their foldable production estimates. They went from planning 8 million units to 15 million units. That suggests Apple is more serious about foldables than many people thought. Apple has a history of entering product categories late, but then dominating them. They did it with smartphones, tablets, and smartwatches. The same thing could happen with foldable phones. Apple's advantage isn't just about hardware specs. It's about how well their devices work with their entire ecosystem. iPhones work seamlessly with iPads, Macs, Apple Watches, and other Apple products. Samsung has been building their own ecosystem, but it's not quite as smooth as Apple's. When Apple launches a foldable iPhone, it will automatically work perfectly with all existing Apple devices. That's a powerful selling point for people already using Apple products. Samsung needs to make sure their foldable phones are compelling enough to compete. Better charging speeds and battery life are important steps. But Samsung also needs to focus on software polish and ecosystem integration. The company has been improving their software experience over the years. Features like multi-window support and app continuity have gotten much better. But there's still room for improvement, especially compared to what Apple might offer. Pricing will be another crucial factor. Reports suggest Samsung plans to keep the Z Fold 8 at the same price as its predecessor. That's important because foldable phones are already very expensive. Most people aren't willing to spend over $1,800 on a phone. By keeping prices stable while adding better features, Samsung makes their phones more attractive. However, the company might need to rely more heavily on Chinese suppliers to control costs. That could help with pricing but might create supply chain risks. Trade tensions between countries could affect component availability. Samsung needs to balance cost savings with supply chain stability. The timing of these upgrades is also interesting. Foldable phones are moving from an experimental product to a mainstream option. More people are considering foldables as their next phone purchase, but that also means the market is getting more competitive. Chinese brands like Honor, Oppo, and Xiaomi are all making excellent foldable phones. Many of them offer better specs than Samsung in some areas. Samsung's advantage has been their build quality and software support. But as other brands improve their software and build quality, Samsung needs to step up their hardware game. The charging and battery upgrades for the Z Fold 8 are steps in the right direction. But Samsung can't stop there. They need to keep improving every aspect of their foldable phones. Camera quality, display technology, durability, and software features all matter. So there you have it. The Z Fold 8 could finally fix Samsung's biggest foldable phone problems. Faster 45-watt charging and a larger 5,000 mAh battery would make a real difference in daily use. These aren't revolutionary changes, but they're the kind of practical improvements people actually want. However, Samsung still has work to do to stay ahead of the competition. Chinese brands are pushing ahead with even faster charging and bigger batteries, and Apple's entry into the foldable market could change everything. The next few years will be crucial for determining who leads the foldable phone market. What do you think about these rumored Z Fold 8 upgrades? Are faster charging and better battery life enough to make you consider a foldable phone? Or do you think Samsung needs to do more to compete with Apple and Chinese brands? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more tech news and rumors. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.